So, if you are completely done reading Youth, we can now explore the foreshadowing. So, foreshadowing can be hints to what is to come. And obviously, the big twist is Red, Slim, and their dads were the aliens. So, you could say that by giving the boys nicknames, that could have been an example of foreshadowing because clearly, if any of the characters would have had like alien names, because if their names were like Bob or Jimmy, but they would end up having weird names. So by making them using the industrialist and the astronomer, it kept readers in the dark about who these characters were. They were like anonymous, we could say. And in this sense, they were anonymous that we're not even going to know their species. Because remember, if we also want to explore this story from like a colonial perspective, people like Americans obviously have different names, and Europeans going to different places, they would be meeting different people that spoke different languages. So this kept us anonymous, and it kind of reflects how much a name can tell who you are. So we also get Red as being the bossier character. We could maybe say that Red is meant to be sort of a colonizer himself, as he is the one keeps talking about the circus. And Slim, him being the astronomer's son, he's kind of going from the approach of his father, which he's going to do, and he wants to like explore the spaceship later, we know. All right, so the industrialist. Now remember, an industrialist would be someone who's a business, in any type of business, really. The parts that we could use from the industrialist and astronomer's conversation is very similar to, we could say, America or the world, what we see. When they're going to talk about the before the wars. So this name, before the wars, obviously we don't have one of those, but we would have had World War II. And World War II was a time in World War I. So you could say this might be somewhat foreshadowing this idea that they're giving nicknames to the wars, and it could also foreshadow why are they using this term? This isn't, before the wars is not how we describe it in our historical timeline. So this could tell us that we were on a different planet. That could be an example of foreshadowing once we know the end. And the other part with what they were looking for. When this one, he's talking about the solvent, like if they're going to still have wealth, he would mean like if his money, you could say this is kind of like corporate dynasties in a way, like how Walmart, the Walton guy, his kids also inherited Walmart, or the guy who owns Louis Vuitton, Bernard Arnault, all his kids are going to inherit the business. So he might be reflecting on that. So the atomic bombs need not be the end of civilization. That is clearly a hint about our world today, which 2 were dropped and we still returned. But we're also, okay, he says atomic power would seem to like not need coal and oil, right? So this line, clearly we have nuclear energy in our world today. But for a really long time, we weren't really using our nuclear energy. We were burning coal and oil, pretty much still to this date. There's only a recent push to start using nuclear power. So you could say that this is a little bit of a hint that we might have been talking about our world, where we do have the ability to use cleaner energy, but we're still going to be using coal and oil, which, you know, is not always good. So those could be some examples of our foreshadowing. Oh, wait, and then, of course, the weapon that they have, or the burn hole. Going back into chapter 1, when they find this burn hole, that is foreshadowing that these creatures are not what they seem. Like, why would they have a gun? Or how would they have been able to burn a hole into it? And then we learn that they do have a weapon. So that was the foreshadowing to the fact that they aren't what they seem. So then when we switch to the point of view of the merchant and the explorer, we're going to see they do have a weapon, And we could also say we could use them as their story as foreshadowing, maybe that they were found by the children, or the fact they didn't use a gun. This can foreshadow that nothing bad might happen to the children. Like, this could lighten the mood, one could say, because throughout the story, it's a humorous kind of story, because we hear in the beginning, we know that the explorer and the merchant don't mean the children harm, right? So we're not really worried about that as we're reading. Instead, it's like these two dads are looking for their alien visitors, and then the children are right under their noses hiding it. So you could say the line of dialogue between the merchant and explorer foreshadows that they don't mean any harm and sets the mood of a more humorous mood for the story. So those could be, for chapters 1, 2, and 3, how we can find examples of foreshadowing.